Good morning, friends. This morning session is dedicated to class 11. This lesson, the second one, the address in the supplementary one, snapshots. The lesson's name is the address by Marga Minco. Now, the story, the address, is a short moving story by Marga Minco. The events that have been described were of Second World War, when Germany invaded Holland. A woman with her daughter had to flee from the town to save herself. She fled to the other town. After the war was over, the mother actually died long ago. The only survivor was the daughter of Mrs. S. So when the war was over, she came back, and she had been given the address of the lady Mrs. Dording, with whom she had left all her belongings. When she went there, to Mrs. Dording's house, she even, you know, uh, didn't intend to recognize her, and she showed no intention of returning the things of her mother. The things that her mother once possessed were now in the house of Mrs. Dording and were kept testlessly in an unpleasant surrounding. Having seen the condition of her mother's belonging, she was pained, and that also reminded of her mother when she was alive. And then finally she resolves to forget that address, 46 Marconi Street, and wants to forget those things also. Now the details of the story. The narrator visited 46 Marconi Street, where Mrs. Dorling lived. This was the address that was given by the narrator's mother when she was alive. She had given this address, telling her that the things that were her own belongings were kept with Mrs. Dorling for the safety, as the war actually threatened them. So they when they survived, they would collect the things. The narrator visited 46 Marconi Street. She knocked at the door. Mrs. Dorling appeared at the gate, but she, didn't intend to recognize the narrator. She showed absolutely no sign of recognition. She kept staring at the narrator, and then the narrator realized that perhaps she didn't want to recognize her, or she had come to a wrong address. But when she read out the address, it was quite, 46 Marconi Street. Not only that, she saw that woman wearing the green knitted cardigan of her mother, the narrator's mother. Then she was sure that she had come to the right address. The woman was wearing her mother's, green knitted cardigan. Finally, the narrator realized that she had come to the right address. The girl asked the woman if she still recognized her. The woman actually was not in a mood to receive her. Then she told her to come the next time. The narrator went back. The second time, the narrator came over there, 46 Marconi Street. This time, the Mrs. Darling was not there. The door was opened by a 15-year-old girl. The girl allowed the narrator to come inside and sit there. When the narrator sat there, in the meanwhile, the girl went to bring a cup of tea. Meanwhile, she opened a box from where she took out some spoons, and then she saw all the silver cutlery and the old, candle holder that were all made of silver. She saw all the cutleries that that belonged to her mother once, and they're all of silver. The girl just told the narrator that perhaps she knew them. The narrator told that these were my mother's, cutleries and silverwares, and this had been given by my mother when she was alive. Mrs. Darling actually often came at the time to my narrator's house, and whenever she came, she took away something. She took all the silverware with her. She took all the beautiful things with her. And at that war time, when the narrator asked her mother why she had given all these things, the mother replied that they were in the custody of Mrs. Dording. she would keep them safe because of war. Mr. Darling would, return them after the war was over. But that was something wrong. This was a wrong option. I mean, the narrator didn't believe in Mrs. Darling. She knew it very well that she would not return the things. The narrator second time visited the narrator's Mr. Darling's house, 46 Marconi Street. This time she was received by the girl. The girl actually allowed her to sit inside and asked her to wait for her mother, Mrs. Darling. By the time she was there talking to the girl, she was amidst the things of her own. Once they belonged to her mother, she wanted to see them again. All those things had been taken away by Mrs. Darling during the war, and she was pained to see them, that they were arranged tastelessly in a very unpleasant manner. The smoky smell of the furniture upset her. The girl brought tea for her. Then she opened a box and took away some spoon out of the box. The narrator also looked at the antique plates. She knew them all because these all cutleries, knives, and the spoons were of silver. These had been once to her mother. Now, having seen them put in a very unpleasant surrounding, the narrator was pained. She just jumped up and she saw the watch. It was time now to catch the train. She resolved to forget the address. She decided to go back and not to remember them. She saw the address, 46 Marconi Street, once again, but she wanted to forget that address. She wanted to just forget those things. She resolved not to go there again. Those nice things were of her mother once, and they were precious. But as the real owner has been dead, she is no more there. These things have lost their values, and they were of no significance to the narrator. So she resolved to forget them and forget that address and not to go there again. That is how this story comes to a conclusion, that the things which were very precious at the time when the narrator's mother was alive, now had become of no avail, no importance, no significance. The narrator wants to forget them and wants to actually no wants the narrator wants to forget them and wants to forget the address. She doesn't want to go to 46 Marconi Street once or twice. She doesn't want to go there again. She decides not to go for those belongings. She wants to forget those belongings that had been once her mother's, and she wants to even forget the address. That was really painful to see them kept in a very unpleasant surrounding, in a very tasteless manner, because they were the things which were very precious in the eyes of her mother, and they were their own belongings, but now they have lost their value, as the real owner, her mother, was not alive. So that is how the story comes to an end. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.